enough of that, guys. Let's get started. Thank you very much, everyone, for being on the phone. Johanna, thanks for being here. Scott Hoffman, good to see you. Hi, Gina. Hi, Tammy. A bunch of the people from the mastermind session joining us. Hello, Chad, Kim, Katie. Justin's in the room. Michelle's in the room. Lori, Sheila, and Matt are in the room. So thank you again for taking time out of your Thursday evening. This is twice a month, the second and fourth Thursdays for those of you that are new to the team. And every Tuesday, another leader will also be joining you via Zoom for additional training. And then, of course, we have our one-on-ones and we have our Saturday mornings. Guys, I wanted to start out this evening by talking about core values, just briefly. Then we're going to have Justin make an exciting announcement, then we'll get on with the rest of the agenda. You know, we often talk on this team about why we got into real estate. And I don't know if it's because a particular answer is expected. I hope not. What we're looking for is just the brutal and honest truth when we ask that question. But that can be associated, no matter what the answer is, with some of your basic core values. So I just wanted to list quite a few of these. There's a lot of them. And I'd like you to think about what you bring to the table as it relates to your core values and what's important to you and how you can inculcate that into your business. So, values, accountability. Perhaps you value achievement, activism, adaptability, adventure. I'll get into the B's. Balance, that's a good one. Being a good sport, belonging. I think a lot of us feel that way because we're on this team. Commitment, community, compassion, confidence, courage. Under the D's, dignity, efficiency, environment, equality. Financial stability is on here as a value. Of course it is. Friendship, grace, giving back. A big one, gratitude. There's humility, hope, and honesty. There's love and loyalty and leadership. There's optimism, openness. There's parenting, patience, peace, reliability, respect, service, self-respect, spirituality, teamwork, thrift, tradition, travel, trust. And then, of course, under the W's, there's wealth and well-being. Guys, I just read that off. I want you to think about that. What's most critical to you as a core value, or 3 or 4? Choose 2 or 3. Bring those to your business model every day. Bring that love into each of these interactions. Bring that desire for wealth into these interactions. You can juxtapose these things against each other, and they are all going to dovetail into what you eventually bring to the table on behalf of your clients and your family. So I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I won't post this list. It's long and laborious, but there's a lot of really good words on here that might capture what it is that you're about, and you know it. So bring it to the table every day in your business. So without further ado, I'm going to have Justin Humphreys come up and make an announcement on a platform that the AMP leadership has been working on for about a month and a half, maybe 2. The spearhead to this, and I want to thank her, and she's gotten help. She can thank those people. The main spearhead was Gina Warner. She has engaged with and voluntold some other people to also get involved with her, and they're being very helpful. And Justin Humphreys has also stepped up to be a big assistance to Gina. So Gina, thank you very much for bringing this to the AMP team. It's exclusive to us at this juncture as an AMP team, and Justin will give you some input right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Hey guys, everybody in the room, everybody on the call. We've got Mark's coveted black screen behind us.
It's lower right there.
We got to get you fixed over here, Mark.
Yeah.
Guys, as Mark just said, we are rolling out something that's really exciting for the AMP team. As the AMP team grows, your leaders are committed to making sure that we provide excellent value to you guys. And we're getting ready to roll out a program, a software that is going to help AMP evolve and go to the next level. So it's called Circle. It's a platform that is going to house all of our a lot of the conversations that I have with the AMP team. Sorry, bud.
Keep talking.
A lot of the conversations I have with the AMP team are based around, unfortunately, where do I find this training class? Where do I find this recording? When is our next meeting? When is this taking place? When is that taking place? Do you have time to talk? You're all looking at it now on the screen. This is Circle that you're looking at, and this is a platform that is going to encompass all things AMP, and it's going to be an easy place where you can find everything you need. You're going to have your trusted vendors. Everybody, you know, instead of going to the Facebook group page on Red One or on AMP to look for a plumber or a basement guy or anything like that, you're going to have all of that in one place. You're going to come right here to the trusted vendors page. You're going to be able to click on one spot. Sorry. You're going to be able to click on a spot, and you're going to be able to come here and get their contact information, their website, their email. I know guys in the class, bear with me. I know, I'm sorry. We got the black screen going behind us. We're also going to have, we're going to eventually move all of our trainings. Your one-on-ones with Mark are going to move from Zoom to Circle. The Thursday trainings, the Tuesday trainings, they're all going to move to Circle. There's going to be all of AMP's 26 tools are going to have each individual courses on Circle. We're going to have recommended content. We're going to have community discussion. We're going to be able to share each other's wins and losses. We're going to have virtual office hours for the leaders. So much like the brokers do with Red One Realty, where they're in office Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour or two, we're going to have something similar on Circle where AMP leaders are going to be available if you need to hop on and chat with them. Everything is going to move to Circle, and it's going to streamline. It's going to make things simple. You're going to be able to find things easier. Nobody's going to have to hunt down videos or links or schedules or anything like that. It's all going to be in one spot. And it's going to continue to grow. Phase 1 of Circle will go live sometime in September. We're still working on that right now. Phase 1 is going to be the trusted vendors, the AMP training videos, recommended content, community discussion. I think Mark is going to start trying to incorporate his one-on-one Zooms with you guys over to Circle. We're going to start to trickle the Thursday meetings and the Tuesday meetings over there. So in September, in this coming month, we're going to be releasing Circle, and it's going to make life a lot easier for everybody. It's going to improve the quality of our conversations, and it's just going to streamline everything in a really concise way. It's easy to use. Even if you're not good with tech, it's going to be really simple. It's like if you took Zoom and Facebook and Hondros Business School and a couple other tools and your Google Calendar and just mesh them into one. That's essentially what Circle is going to be for the AMP group. It's really going to make things a lot easier. I'm excited for it. Gina has put a ton of work in. She has hours of videos on there already. The rest of the leaders are jumping in to help, and we're looking to release this. Like I said, phase 1 is going to be the stuff I discussed. Phase 2 will be all of our trainings moving to there, in virtual office hours, those types of things. So I don't know if you can tell, but we're really excited about it. So I hope you guys are too. Keep an eye out for more discussion and more announcements on that. Thank you, Gina Warner. And with that, I'll give it back to Mark D'Andrea. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Vendor, like, how would we let you all know if we wanted to add it, or is that pretty much up to like leadership because you know?
That's a good question. If Gina Warner is still on the call, Mark, I'd love to get her opinion on that.
Gina, if we've got agents on the AMP team that have trusted vendor partners, do you want them to send those to us? Do you want to give them the ability to add them? How's that going to work?
So I want to just say not yet. We're building it up with the leadership and the trusted vendors that we know. And then we will have a submission process in place that you can submit your vendors that you would like to have added. And we'll do a little bit of vetting to make sure that, you know, we're putting solid stuff out there for all the agents. We're also going to be able to have a kind of like a rating system for the vendors. So you can see on the screen that you can see right in front of you where you can like and comment on every every single one of these. So if anybody gets like even one negative comment back on any of these vendors, we're going to start investigating what is going on. But if they get more than one negative comment or two or three, they're off of our trusted vendor list because they're not trusted anymore. So we have a rating system, and we are going to utilize that to make sure that we keep our trusted vendors, people that we truly can trust and trust with our agents and our clients.
Perfect.
That was my next question.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna,
Mark, real quickly, just 1 second.
yep.
Over here on the left hand. Also, the one thing it's going to do is going to take care of this black screen because we're going to be on Circle. We're not going to be on Zoom anymore. Go to the AMP training and the one right above the one that's highlighted on the nav bar over here on the left, Mark, that says AMP training. Go ahead and click on that. Just to give you guys an idea, scroll down a little bit. All of our trainings are going to be here, as you can see. Those of you on the Zoom can see. I love busting your balls, Mark. I'm sorry.
It's no trouble.
All of the trainings are, as you can see, are going to be listed here. They're going to be really easy to find. It's not going to be any more searching for stuff. We do a pretty good job of presenting it to you now, but I do get a lot of questions about where can I find this? Where can I find that? It's all
Show the topics at the top, go all the way to the top and click on the topic. So like go to contract training and click on contract training, Mark. And boom, you see the contract training right there. Yeah. So any of these topics across the top, you can sort by and find the trainings that are on there. We're not done categorizing them. We're not done making them all look pretty. But that's the goal.
All right. Let's leave a little bit of the secret sauce for another time.
Yeah.
We will move on. All right, let's get into just a recap. First of all, I owe the team an apology. I was on an AMP phone call the other day with an agent, and we were talking about transactions. Don't misunderstand me. I would like, and am working, the leadership is working hard for you all to do as many transactions as your life can possibly stand. But it was pointed out to me that this particular agent had reached their dollar goal for the year. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there it is. We all fill out a vision sheet and then we revisit it every year, right? A couple times a year. Vision for 2024. We put in the number of transactions we want to do here, the amount of commissions we think that'll generate based upon an average sales price, and we leave anything home alone. And I described that to each of you that have been through this training with me. Well, this particular agent had reached their annual goal for gross commissions. They had not reached their annual goal as it related to transactions. So we're going to probably start talking about that a little bit differently. And I apologize if we have focused a little bit too much on transactional numbers and not on your pocketbook. So we will correct that and start to dovetail that into our language as leaders so that there is a clear understanding that for you, it is the bottom line, which is how much money am I grossing every year, right? So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. If you've reached your annual goal as it relates to the money you want to make, by all means, please adjust your vision sheet and thrust that dollar figure up. Maybe you leave the transactions alone if you haven't reached that number yet. But guys, revisit this. I encourage all of you to put it on your fridge and carry it around with you and have one in your office at home. And I say this often, it sounds trite and silly and old-fashioned and, gee, who are you? Tony Robbins or somebody silly like that. Guys, if you don't have it in front of you, you have very little shot at reaching the goal. So keep it in front of you and let's start focusing on the dollars you're making a little bit more. Any feedback or questions on that? Does anybody have any input or any great stories they would like to tell that are taking place in their business of late? Anybody can start. Just make sure you're not muted. Tell us who you are and then tell us what's going on. What did you do? What did it generate? How did it come about? Give us a quick story. Somebody.
I'll try one. It's Johanna.
Hi, Johanna. How are you?
Hi, good. So this wasn't a transaction one, but I heard Mike call and some of other people say, hey, instead of just taking the call and like running out on a lead from like a Zillow or whatever you end up getting them from, try setting up a, coffee shop or whatever and getting to know the client. So I was thinking that's never going to happen. That's crazy. But I was like, whatever, I'll try to see if my ROI will be better. So I did it. And I love this person. And we headed off. We were there for probably a couple hours tonight. And then she introduced me to her daughter who wants to buy next year, but she's looking to like get into her stuff. So it turned into a couple hour session. And I know you can't do it with all those people, but I feel like instead of just even like her forgetting about like, hey, however long it takes, whether it's a month, 3 months, whatever that may be to find her a home, I don't feel like she'll cheat on me as a realtor. So I feel like it's actually going to turn into a bigger thing. And I learned that she has 3 other kids here in her 20s that haven't bought homes and something like that. So it was just, I try to take a different approach to see if I could change my ROI as far as just running out and showing homes and not just becoming the person who opens the door. And even though you're giving all the other advice and things like that, I just try to go back to let's have a conversation outside of a home. And we just went to Easton at the Slurping Turtle just to have a conversation. And it was actually really fun. I really like her.
I absolutely love it. And I presume that your buyer conversation training was helpful during that time.
It was. And I even brought that up to her and said, hey, actually, so during part of our conversation, I brought that up. And that's where I think that came up with it. And I told her, hey, this will be happening. So don't be alarmed when we go out and see our first house that you'll have to sign this. And here's how I get paid. And so you understand it. She's like, well, yeah, you need to get paid. And, so it was just, anyway, so it wasn't a transaction, but I know that that one will come. And then I think I'll end up getting her daughter and maybe even her kids down the road. So it was just a breath of fresh air and a different approach, which I really didn't want to do, but I thought I will try a different approach.
I absolutely love it. Thank you very much for that. Anybody else? What have you done? What has it resulted in? What's going on in your business?
Well, it hasn't.
We have Michelle in the room.
My results yet, but I realized that by the time I try to teach myself Canva, by the time I try to learn different things that I just don't have the skill set for, all I do is get very frustrated. I feel like I'm behind and I'm not happy. So I decided that just like I pay for my signs, I pay for, when I pay for leads and geo farming, I'm going to reach out to the AMP agents, the leadership especially, that have the skill sets to do the things and could knock something out for me in like an hour. I reached out to Dana. I told her I will be compensating her. She can either come up with it or I will. But she is helping me with like my marketing materials, all of them, so that they're streamlined. They all look the same. I will have them on my computer.
Can I capture that for the audience on the call? Guys, Michelle's bringing up a really good point, and it has to do with recognizing, it's the old Magnum Force, Dirty Harry thing. Man's got to recognize his limitations. We all have them. You guys all know that I'm technologically challenged. I learn a little something new every day, but I rely upon the other leaders to fill in those gaps that exist in my world as it relates to running my business. And Michelle was talking about, rather than being frustrated by your inability perhaps to have the time or the patience or the techno savvy to learn something like a Canva or something else, get in touch with a leader and have them light this stuff up for you and remunerate them for that. Right? So I think that's smart. It saves you time. Justin will do it for you. Sheila will help you out. That's why we're here. We're here as a resource. And I think Circle is also going to be a big leap forward as it relates to that. So 2 really good stories, right? Johanna getting out of her comfort zone, understanding that, in business, especially the real estate business, we've got to sit down with people face to face at some point, using KV Core or social media, direct messaging or texting or phone calling somebody or emailing them. You're going to have to sit down with your potential buyer eventually. You're going to have to sit down definitely with your listing client because you're going to be sitting in their home. So by all means, use that as a really good light bulb above your head moment when Johanna shares that story. Start going right in to meet with people. No matter how the conversation starts, let's sit down and chat. You'll get to know somebody and make another friend, and you're likely to get a client out of it as well. And Michelle's example is also a good one. There's no reason to be frustrated. We're all limited on time and perhaps ability. Let's utilize the resources that the team gives you. Anybody else? Mohammed in the room has something.
This is something that I've been using that kind of connects with, you know, the goal, right? So I use what's called Realty Zam.
Spell it.
Realty and then Zam. Z as in zebra, A-M, like Mike.
Okay.
I use Realty Zam.
I'll capture all this for you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll text it in too. So I use Realty Zam, and I'm able to add in transactions that are in contract, transactions that have sold, any active clients I'm working on, like active meaning I'm showing them how well, I have a listing that's active, but it's not in contract. And basically what it does is I have the vision sheet, have it printed, have it taped on my wall at my office. But I also have that because it helps me visualize it much better, breaks it down. So, you know, it also has a section where you can include the commission split if you're paying an admin fee on these deals. So you know exactly when you get your broker sumo, you know what you're actually taking home on that deal. So
it's called Realty Zam. Realty ZAM, right?
Realty Zam, yep.
Realty ZAM. Look it up, Google it, see if you like it. Muhammad likes it, and he's very busy. So it works.
So you don't lose sight of it.
Of the funnel.
We get so sucked into now, what's happening now, that we're not pushing forward.
That has to do with pipeline, paying attention to your pipeline while you've got transactions going, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Anybody else? I'm engaged with this. It's resulting in this. Any other fun stories? Going once. Christian
So
in the room.
Hi, Mark. This is Nara.
Hang on, Nada. Christian in the room is chatting.
yesterday I sat down with a sales rep from Fisher Homes, first time talking to home builder. And I know a lot of people are worried about being paid commissions, buyer agent. Fisher Homes will always offer 3%. At least want to share that. And price doesn't change on their houses, whether or not the customer there is represented by a realtor or not. So
sure,
if you can get a client of yours with Fisher Homes, just let them know.
Let me take what Christian just said and broaden it for you. He's talking about, he's got a client that's in front of Fisher Homes right now. Guys, we've trained on this a couple of times. We will continue to hammer it home. Without question, new builds should be part of your toolbox. Connect with the nearest MI agent, the nearest Fisher Homes agent, the nearest Pulte agent, the nearest DR Horton agent. Khalees will take care of you at DR Horton. So connect with these salespeople, get to know them, have coffee with them, and make sure you understand their process. It's pretty simple with builders. Register your clients with them, you're going to get paid. And Christian made a couple good points. One, it's going to be 3%, 99.9% of the time. You would still want a buyer broker agency agreement in place with that buyer. And two, as it relates to competition, I'm not sure agents out there beyond AMP are really connected well with a lot of builders. Build yourself a nice little builder sales rep family. They'll treat you right. You never know. Somebody rolls in there and they need to list their house if you might not get that phone call. Okay.
Christian, who did you meet with there?
Stefan, I think it's
Okay.
Stefan Ghazi is the one that Christian met with. Nada, you had something real quick, and then we'll get on with revenue share. Nada?
Yes, Mark. Sorry, I was on mute actually. Yep, I'm working on a couple of new builds with MI Homes, and they're currently giving the 3% commission, and they are very cooperative. And most of the referrals, most of the clients I'm getting through the referrals actually. Yeah.
So
like,
so you're
yeah.
working your sphere.
Yes, yes.
Is anybody having luck with conversions and transactions outside of their sphere? Any stories about that we can tell? We have one in the room if nobody on the call has one.
I've gotten 2 exclusive buyer agreements signed through open houses in the past month.
Love it. Sheila?
Yeah, so it's back to Zillow, and it's interesting because recently I was able to just say, hey, I have to send you this information. I sent a text ahead of time, the buyer's agreement. I have to send this to you. I sent the text telling them it was coming, sent it to them, and they signed it like that and went and showed them like their budget, 600,000. And they're looking to actually buy in October, but they're doing their pre-work now, and very good conversation.
Sheila's working with Zillow Leads and has indicated it's been a very smooth process to get those buyers to sign the buyer's exclusive agency agreement. The part of it that she was explaining in the room that I keyed in on is she is indicating properly that this is the law now, and the state is requiring that I have this signed.
It makes the conversation so much.
It just goes away. Oh, it's the law? It's the law. You're not the heavy in this situation, guys, with buyer brokerage exclusive agency agreements. The state of Ohio is, and that's just fine. Let them bear that weight. You do your work. Bring your core values to the process and close more buyer homes. And anything you need, the leaders are here for you. Great story. Great story. Narda, thank you. Last one, if somebody wants to.
Hey, Mark, it's Dana. I got one too.
Go ahead, Dana.
Hey, yeah, so to answer your question, I connected with a new client over the weekend at an open house outside of my sphere. So they came through an open house, was not represented, and I made a conversation with them, talked about the buyer broker agreement. We went into contract the same day. So on the house I was doing an open house for Joe Wood. So it's going to be a great smooth process. So just get out there and do open houses.
Okay, so that leads me to this. Briefly, guys, your business is going to eventually fall into what the AMP team fondly calls PTAC. Dana doesn't like it, but she doesn't like a lot of the things that I do, such as the color scheme for this particular business platform. She has a better one. But your business is going to fall into PTAC right there. It's going to fall into databases and platforms that you are extraordinarily engaged with, very competent with, extremely focused on, consistently working within these platforms. And your business is going to, terrible analogy, I'm going to use it anyway. In baseball, when somebody's doing really well in hitting, you ask them all, and they'll tell you the ball is slow long for a ball to reach a batter. But they all talk about how the ball is slowing down, and I can see it. I'm seeing the ball is what they call it. Well, in real estate, guys, this will crystallize for you in that very same regard. Your business will slow down in front of you. I don't mean volume-wise or transaction-wise. I mean, it'll crystallize in front of you. It'll simplify right before your very eyes as you get really good at these foundational principles that we're trying to get you through, right? And you're all talking about picking and choosing. That's great. Guys, there's 25 things on here that you will want to be proficient at. Pick and choose those that match up with your core values, that give you the opportunities that get you most excited. Dana just mentioned an open house. Sheila talked about Zillow leads. Michelle talked about Canva. Muhammad talked about RealtyZam. Christian talked about new builds. Pick a car and mash your foot on the gas and stay focused. These are all great stories, guys. It's having the skill set in the toolbox that's deep enough and wide enough to find your place and to let your business crystallize into pipeline, transactions, and closings. PTAC, pipeline, transactions, and closings. And knowing where all that is as it relates to the platforms within which those people reside. Okay, so we'll make that the last word on that. Let's transition, if you don't mind. Sheila Howe has worked very, very hard to make revenue share simple. Simple to understand. Yeah, simple to understand. Easy to understand where you fit within revenue share. Easier for you to make a decision as to whether or not revenue share is for you. Hang on just a second. I got some chat, so I want to make sure we're good. The builders offer more than 3%. Make sure your agreement matches what the builder is paying. For example, bidder paying 4%. Make sure the agreement matches that. The key there, guys, would be you're not allowed to make more than what your buyer's exclusive agency agreement says. So Mike brought up this example, and I'm not sure if you could edit. You couldn't edit your agreement with your buyer after contract, for sure. Yeah, you can't edit it afterwards. The date of that agreement's got to be prior to you making an offer. And that contract with the builder is the offer. It's the contract. So we can seek clarification on that. And I want to go off in a rabbit hole here, but be careful. Let's address that. Let's make sure we figure that out. Of course, and the ones posted are great. Go back over in meantime. Malio Mass says, if you could wait until we get over our submission process in place, that would be helpful. I don't know what all this has to do with. Oh, that was about Circle. Okay, so let me get out of that. Back to revenue share. Yeah.
Set up because we don't need to see the header. Yeah. There we go.
I want them to see that verbiage. Okay. Guys, revenue share was launched last October. It involves 3 particular points that you would want to be aware of and focus in on. 1, it's a different cap than your Red One cap. 2, you will share in the revenue of other agents who are in your downline. I'm going to make it 4 points. 3, this team inherently has the built-in capacity to encourage and recruit downline agents for you. It's one of the built-in functions of AMP because there's so many of us. There's 115 of us now. So it's perfectly suited for our purposes and building it correctly so that all folks involved get something out of it over time. 4, there's stock that will be provided to you when you join revenue share that sits in your account from that moment forward until the day that this company goes public, IPO. That is supposed to happen within a couple of years. So you all heard Mike's presentation of about a month ago, and you're wondering why in the world I'm going over this again, because he already went over it with you. the part of the presentations that have been being put in place to date have not made clear and compared your position as a typical Red One $4,800 cap agent versus a revenue share agent, and how those two things compare and contrast. I'm still doing good there. Compare and contrast as your business begins and grows. So thank you, Sheila, for putting this together. This took a lot of math and calculation, and she's really good, like other people in the room, with knowing how to work with Excel. I'm not good at that, but she popped it up. So here's what we've got to share with you, and I would like you to please absorb this best you can, and then I'm not objective. Mathematically, I do not understand why every agent who's on the AMP platform would not highly consider joining the revenue share platform. And now let's prove it mathematically. So you're not just hearing the guy that loves this tell you that he loves it. So on the left, we are calling these emerging owners, because that's what you are. We've had these conversations repeatedly. We're business owners, and we've gotten our license perhaps very recently, and we're building a business by utilizing the resources that AMP is offering you, the coaching and training and mentoring. And it's working. I was challenged by one of our leaders at the beginning of this year, who did some research, and we compared ourselves team to team with another team. And they wiped the floor with us last year as it relates to volume. Well, this particular leader is probably more competitive than I am even, and they weren't happy. So we're very focused on your commissions and you accomplishing the vision that you set out for as it relates to the amount of money you wish to make. And I can proudly say that we are significantly more productive this year than last, and we were productive last year. So with that said, look at the example on your screen, guys. Put yourself in one of these positions, because these numbers are taken from actual AMP agents production on average. We didn't just pull these out of the air. These are real numbers. As an emerging owner, if you're newly licensed, and in a 12-month period of time, you see yourself doing 3 transactions. I do vision sheets with AMP agents all the time. That's a good number. For a first-year AMP agent, that happens to be right on point as it relates to the number of transactions you might do. The volume's a little higher than 250,000 a piece because the average is higher, but that's not the point. We wanted to be conservative with our math. It was one of the things that Sheila and I went back and forth on a lot. We wanted to present a real picture to you using real numbers. So if you're an agent and if you expect to do 3 transactions in any given 12-month period of time at $250,000 a piece at 3%, that's going to generate, and if you just focus on the left, emerging owner, it says year 1 AMP agent emerging, and it says Red One $4,800 cap program. That's what many of you are on. Your income in that particular year doing those 3 transactions at that average price at 3% would be $22,500. That's your income. You would reach your cap of $4,800, and you would also have an E&O fee that those that are on the base cap, they paid $249. We rounded it up to $250. So we've got all the math is in there. That's your cap plus your E&O fee for the year. It's annual. So you would pay Red One $5,050 in that 12-month period of time. You all know what the process is with AMP, and it's changed over the years. So let me give you this math. When we originally started, it was 10% for the first 3, 5% thereafter. That changed for a brief period of time to 15% for the first 4 and 5% thereafter. as the team has grown, it's now 20% for the first 4 and 10% thereafter. God bless you all. You're all grand, whatever you signed up for. And God bless those that are taking the risk with us that have signed up of late and trust this team to grow your business for you. That is still significantly less than any other team you would talk to. Those get up to, Justin, 50%? 50% splits, 60-40s, 50-50s, 70-30s. It's the best I've heard. So no disparagement there. That's just a different business model. So as the Red One $4,800 cap agent, you would make $22,500 gross. Red One would collect $5,050 of that, and AMP would collect $4,500 of that. That would be part of your first 4 at 20%. You would net $12,950. New agent, just getting started on the AMP team, 3 transactions, $12,950 is a good year for your first year. Compare that to an agent who's also newer, who also expects to do 3 transactions, and they join revenue share right away. Say, look, I'm going to invest in myself and in this team. I like the idea of sharing in revenue with other people. I also love the idea of owning stock in Red One that will grow over time. And I definitely like the idea of being able to create a retirement account with the shared revenue that will go on as long as you have your license and as long as the people that are with you in your revenue share platform have their license, and you can even retire if you wish. Put your license with Red One Holding, and those people who are in your downline with Red One will continue to, you'll share in their revenue. That $250,000 agent per transaction in revenue share doing 3 transactions at 3% makes the same $22,500. The Red One cap is $5,100. And you say to yourself, well, I thought the cap for a solo agent in revenue share was $12,000. Yes, it is. But you didn't meet the cap at 3 transactions. All you pay in is 20% of your transactions, which is $5,100. That also includes your 2 transaction fees that are a part of the revenue share platform. So the 2 fees that are in there and the amount of the cap that you'd hit at 3 transactions, it's all added together and it's $5,100. You would net after that first year $17,400 if you were in rev share. That is $4,450 more than you will net as a typical cap agent. That's the math. Now, we also have many agents. I would name them, but it would embarrass them because they're humble people on the call and in this room that in their first year will exceed 3. Thank you. Will exceed 3. So we chose 6 as a good interim number because we have statistics to verify that emerging owners as new agents, they do 6. Same math. Red One emerging agent at 4,800 cap would gross 45,000 in commissions. They would pay Red One the same $5,050 because they did 6 transactions. Their first 4 would pay AMP 6,000, and their next 2 would pay AMP 1,500, and they would end up netting out at 32,450. Now you might think to yourself that showing you the math that what AMP splits are in some way, shape, or form could be misconstrued as negative. Not remotely. The leadership team absolutely cares only about you and your growing business, and it's significantly less than any other team you could be on. So we stand strong with where we are there. 32,450 is your net. Same agent, 6 transactions, 45,000 a year. The cap that you hit is 9,600 and includes your transaction fees. And you're netting out at $35,400, which is a net positive of $2,950. So you can do 3 and net $4,450 by being on rev share. You can do 6 and net 2,950. Any number in between those is still going to come out with a result that nets you more money. It'll be somewhere between 2,950 and 4,450, but it will be to your advantage to be in rev share. Why is the AMP commission missing on every revenue share column? Because, as if you didn't know it, I apologize. I've fallen down on the job. Coaching is free when you join revenue share as an AMP agent. So no matter where you are in that process, coaching is free. All the leaders got together, made that decision. Mike Hall definitely likes it. We will coach you for free if you're in rev share. And no diminishment of services from the leaders. We're only improving those. Let's go down to year 2 for those same agents. In year 2, for those same emerging agents, our stats let us know that your business in year 2 grows by an average of 153%. We were a little conservative with the 5 transactions and might have been a little conservative on the 9, which we would tend to be. Believe me, if you get in a room with Sheila, she's conservative. I can start blowing smoke and she says, we're not going to go there. Let's just do it this way. And I say, yes, ma'am. Because she had the keyboard at the time and she's the one typing in the numbers. These are real, guys. The average second-year AMP agent does grow their business by 153%. So we just kind of knock that down a little bit. You go from 3 to 5 in year 2, same average transaction, 3%, you're going to make 34,425. 5,050 to red 1, same thing. Now your AMP splits go down a bit because you've already done your 4 and you're into the rest of your career with AMP. So that goes down to 1,500 for those that you didn't hit last year. And then 10% for 5 and over. You're at 2,693 and 1,500. You end up netting to you 25,183. Same agent growing their business in rev share, year 2, AMP continues to grow your business with you. You do 5, you net the same 34,425, and what you apply to your cap is $7,485, which includes any fee that would be associated with the revenue share platform. Your net is 26,940. Which is a positive net to the agents in that year alone of 1,758, or a cumulative 2-year net result of 6,208. Interestingly, because math does not lie, people do, there are certain circumstances where this emerging agent who did 6 in their first year and they do 9 in their second year, you can see that their income is 68,850. Red 1 cap has been met. The AMP share is 68.85. They net out 56.915. And lo and behold, when you're over here in the revenue share side, you make 56.050 and you lost $865 that year. So you're ahead of the game year 2 if you stayed as an AMP agent, or excuse me, as a red 1 standard cap agent. But wait, there's more. Because this sounds like one of those commercials, doesn't it? In that situation, by year 2, you'll find yourself in a significantly different place being a revenue share agent, because you'll already have $12,375 worth of stock in your account, even if it's only worth $1 a share. We'll talk about that in a minute. And by that point, you will have started to experience revenue sharing from the agents that we recruit and make you the sponsor of. But leaving all that aside, it takes year 2 and an emerging agent doing 9 transactions before we can get to any kind of negative numbers or risk for being in revenue share. Let's do year 3. The reason why this was extremely important is, guys, people join revenue share as a business decision. When you're speaking to me and I'm going through your sponsorship form and we're talking about where you'll be placed within the platform, which is up as high as we can get you, because that's our goal, so we can recruit people in your downline. There's no pie in the sky explanation from me. This is a business decision. It's an investment. Obviously, because your cap is higher. We've shown you the math that even though your cap is higher, you'll still be better off. My point is, this is not something that you want to jump into, say today, and give it a shot for a year. I would not do that. First of all, because the policy is if you get back out, you can't get back in for another year. The reason for that is obvious. There are folks that at other brokerages, not here, who would get out of revenue share so they didn't have to pay the higher cap because they thought they were going to have a really good year and then want to rejoin it. And they'd go in and out of it. Guys, if that's the thought process, please do not get into revenue share. I'm asking you to invest for the long haul because there's some really cool long haul stuff coming here in just a second. Invest for the long haul. That's what this is. Year over year, it's still mathematically good, but it's not something you jump in and out of. This is a buy and hold if you're remotely familiar with the stock market. You're buying a blue chip stock and you're hanging on to it, and you're letting this platform grow your business for and with you, because we do. There are examples of it sitting in this room right now. Any questions so far?
Something like that.
What? Oh,
Something like that.
yeah.
So the other piece to this is,
Don't steal my thunder, brother, but go ahead.
I'll slam this down on his hands.
No, it's okay. Let's, why don't you hang loose for a second? Let's just, I love it. Love the excitement. Let's just hang loose. If there are no questions, guys, I said it and I've said it and I've said it. Math does not lie. Okay. It doesn't lie. This is where you are, no matter where you are in your work with AMP. So here's year 3, emerging agent. Their business grows by an additional 43% on average. We were conservative again. 7 transactions as a 4,800 cap Red One agent. You make 49,228. You pay Red One their 5,050. Your AMP share is 49,23. Why did we keep the AMP share there? Because statistically, guys, when people join AMP, they don't leave. That's not a bragging statement. It's just history. And we're tickled that you don't leave. I don't want you to leave. We want to be a resource for you forever. But you leave AMP and you won't be part of Circle, I can tell you that. You won't be on the AMP Facebook page, I can tell you that. Right? So people stay. That's the reason why we went into year 3. We had 3 years of stats. Sheila and I talked about it. She wanted us to show you this long-term look, this historical review of what we've experienced. And people just don't leave. And we're glad of it. We love having the family that we have. We dominate the Christmas party. We fill up 2 tables and we have a blast. So it'll be 3 or 4 this year. At any rate, you're 39,255 if you're a 4,800 cap Red One agent. And just real quick, the math is 38,782 in year 3. So there's a negative there. $473 is invested into the future. The cumulative 3-year results is you're still $5,735 ahead. 13 transactions, guys, the place that we would all just love to be. That plus, right? Who wouldn't want to assist 13 people a year and have a gross income of $98,456 if you're a standard cap agent? Red One keeps 5,050, AMP 9,846, UNET 83,560. Your net positive on 13 transactions by the time you get to year 3, $1,296. In the overall accumulation for an emerging agent who just does just a little bit more. Perhaps their sphere is just a little bit stronger. Or they're like Johanna and she just takes somebody to the coffee shop, or Mohammed and has this, or Michelle and dovetailing her Canvas skills, or Lori and the expert at Marinova. Who knows the reason, but they're just doing just a little bit more earlier in their career. Over those 3 years, that emerging agent that's doing just a little bit better nets ahead $3,381. Notice your split is your red one cap got up to 13.6. It's important to point that out, guys. This is the first time you've seen somebody cap at 13 transactions at this very low dollar figure. So it probably happened sooner. But the point is, at 13,600 bucks, you met your cap. That's the only time it shows that. Every other time you're below it. Nobody's coming after you for the balance. And they're not going to keep more than 12 either. But we wanted to show you the amount. Yep, fees are in there. Yep. Yeah, it's $200 per transaction. After you meet your cap, you pay $200 per transaction to Red One. So it's all in there. No hidden fees, no fine print. 13,600 represents your actual share provided to Red One that then other agents will share in that are above you. So you're ahead there. This is fun. These are one of the two things that we have not yet touched on. All of this above, guys, is just your income, your work, what you're doing. It's all transactional. It gives you the clear picture that you should all be revenue share agents. Sorry, that's just what I'm seeing here in math. This provides you with a very conservative estimate of what would happen. And we've looked at our platform, and this is real life examples here, right? Where we've simply chose a couple people and you're their sponsor. So you have two folks in your downline. We're recruiting for you. And one of them is an emerging owner and the other one is a rising star. They're doing just a little bit more. The potential commission income that you would get from just having two people in your downline is $4,050. That's two folks we've recruited for you. Perhaps you've recruited them yourself. You're their sponsor. You share in their revenue. There are really good averages, very conservative averages of what you would share of their commission. It's $4,050. See ya. Yep, that's an annualized number. So divide that by 12, and there's your little monthly spiff. If you have two emerging owners and two rising stars in your downline, so that would be a total of 4 that you are directly sponsoring. That adds up to $8,110 a year. Starting to get to pretty close to $1,000 a month. There's $1,000 a month. When you've got 6 people you've sponsored directly, we would help you to be strategic about where these folks go when we recruit them. I speak to the leaders quite often about where people are placed and who sponsors them. We're growing this in the most, this word's going to be tough for me, equanimous. The best equity way that we can, we're building this platform to benefit all, right? It's not being built for me. It's not being built for Justin, Sheila, Malika, Mark, Gina, Sheila, or anybody else. It's being built for the team. And we take very seriously our responsibility to grow your business with you, your revenue share business. These add up to $12,150. Extra income. You don't have a whole lot to do with it. Sometimes people don't even know who's in their downline. I had an AMP leader come to me today and say, so-and-so is in my downline. Didn't know that. I don't always ask permission to do these things, guys. I'm just trying to grow your platform here. If you've got 2 emerging owners, you got 17,000, 2 emerging owners, 2 rising stars. Each agent has 1 agent. we can explain this in more detail. Now you've got 17,820 coming in annually. That's just one of the benefits that a typical AMP agent doing their 4,800 cap, you don't share in other people's revenue. So it's become this, you pick it. You pick yourself.
Yeah.
Let's say you're the emerging agent that's doing 5 transactions a year in and year out. There's your income and revenue share, 26,940. We do our jobs, and let's just do the first level, and you got an extra $4,050 coming in every year. Yeah.
Feels sales pitching, but the one-on-one, I'm like, okay, I can get there.
Sheila's bringing up a good point that I would presume it's going through most of your minds. I mean, Matt and I were talking about this on a personal level because I was hammering on him for not having joined revenue share yet. What's the truth? He's okay with it. I think it is. This wasn't a disparaging or pressure. He's not going to take pressure from me anyway. This was us wanting to clarify for really good agents, that's Matt, that it might be a good idea to involve yourself sooner rather than later if you can find a level of comfort with it. And there's a bunch of you out there thinking this, which brings me back to Sheila's point. I don't know. Will anybody else ever join this thing again after I have? Well, yes. There's 88,000 EXP agents across this country. They're the largest revenue share brokerage in the country. Yes, people continue to make an investment in their future and join revenue share platforms all the time, every day. We just happen to be the largest revenue share platform in all of Red One. And I want us to continue to be, because I think it's good for you. So this is really cool. It's a second level of income for you. The last item to discuss is stock. Guys, this stuff is given to you by Red One for joining revenue share. It's provided. On your first transaction that you do after joining revenue share, you get 250 shares of Red One stock. That's not dollars, that's shares. We're just presuming they're worth $1 a piece to keep this conservative and real for you and easy to understand. First transaction that anybody in your tree, your downline does, first one, you get another 125 shares for each of those first 4 people. So if you got 4, that's 125 a piece. We're using example of 2. Let's just say it's 1. So you got 375 shares of Red One stock when you do your first transaction and they do their first. I will create a video reel with you. I've done it for everybody who's joined revenue share so far. I think some of the recent people, we still need to sit down. Joanna and I are trying to get it together. I won't forget. All you have to do is do a video with me. We split it up into 4 reels. We send it to Mike Hall. He marks you down for $6,000 worth of Red One stock. Not 6,000 shares, $6,000. You attend this year's annual conference in Columbus. Could be. Did Mike actually said that? Mike actually said, he said, you know, if you attend the Christmas party. So who knows if, but at any rate, there'll be an annual conference, excuse me. And it may be our Christmas party. By attending that, you get another $6,000 worth of Red One stock. Add it all up at $1 a piece, and that's $12,375 with the Red One stock valued at $1 per share. Will our stock IPO at $1? Who knows? Doubt it. Yeah, that would be cool. Mike would love that. Because what happens when you IPO is a bunch of people sell some of their shares to pay their tax liability for that year. What I'd like y'all to do is just budget for it and pay your tax liability with extra money. At any rate. Right now, I think the last time we checked, EXP is trading at $14 a share. And you can grow your stock portfolio over time. I don't know what else Red One is going to offer us as it relates to incentives, but first in usually gets first bite. So you have your income. It's better when you're a revenue share agent with very few exceptions. You have the income that you're sharing in the revenue from the people that are in your downline. That comes to you no matter what you're doing. You have to do 2 transactions a year, but no matter what's going on, those people are producing because they want to feed their families. You're getting your share of that revenue, and we're doing it for them as well. And the last thing is stock. I'm going to go to the bathroom while you absorb that stuff.
It's 7:09. All right, we'll see y'all later. Thanks for joining.
All right, guys. Mark just ran away. He said he was sick of dealing with you, and it is about 10 after. So if anybody has a question on the call, let me know. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here.
Hey, Justin, just real quick, just quick clarification. The first transactions, the 250 and 125, were the number of stocks, and then the other ones were dollar amounts.
That is my understanding.
Okay, so 250 and 125 are just number of shares, and 6,000, 12,375 is dollars, whatever the stock ends up at.
I think his question is the 6,000 for the video creation and annual conference would be a dollar amount, and the first transaction and the 125 would be stock number. Okay.
So we just assumed that they were dollars so that we could accept.
Yes. Yeah, guys, if you wanted to do the quick math, if our stock IPO'd at $5 a share, those 375 shares would be worth 5 times what we have listed here. That's all. The 6,000 doesn't change because that's just value of dollars. The number of shares that you get for that 12,000 would be lessened because now they're worth $5 a share. But let's not get into the weeds.
Hey, Mark, it's Dana. I know we're trying to wrap up, but I just want to do one quick role play question because I think people probably want to ask and they don't want to ask. So 2 questions.
Yep.
I'm a brand new agent, role playing here, brand new agent. I joined RevShare. I only have 2 transactions. So now, Red One broker, do I have to pay $12,000 to you even though I only had 2 transactions?
No, ma'am, you do not. Your cap on both the 4,800 platform and the revenue share platform acts and walks and talks the same way. Whatever you generate as it relates to your percentage towards your cap is what you pay. Red One does not bill people when they don't meet their cap. Other brokerages, not revenue share brokerages, a lot of brokerages that will collect your fees and your splits one way or another. Red One isn't one of them.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And then I have one more role play question. If I'm a brand new agent and I join RevShare and you put 1 or 2 new agents in my downline, what happens if they have questions for me and I'm a new agent and I can't help them? Who's going to help people in my downline if I can't?
The AMP leaders.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing changes, Dana, on coaching. That's a great question. I appreciate you asking it. Nothing changes on coaching at all. You still have 7 people that are going to be more available in about another week on Circle when we are virtually available to you 24/7. We are doubling down on the amount of coaching that we're attempting to provide to this platform because we're seeing the results and we are learning that, okay, we need to do more of this because we're seeing people engaged. We've got some extraordinarily talented agents on this platform, guys. I'm tickled to death to be involved in with all of you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's a bunch of fun to Zoom with you guys. What other questions do we have on revenue share? I've kept you over. It's time to go. If you are interested, get a hold of me.
Justin, this is Nara. For that conference call for the conference, right? If I'm not able to attend, like if I'm out of country and if I'm not able to attend, do we still not get that $6,000?
That's correct. If you're unable to attend an event that Mike dubs the event you need to attend in order to get your $6,000, you would. My answer is you would not get that $6,000 worth of stock. And then the secondary answer would be that you and I go to my call and discuss it with him. And if it's something that sounds like a legal and an ethical issue. And you're going to get a very direct response from Mike Hall because he's definitely a legal and ethical guy. And the answer is probably no.
Okay. And the video creation, right? What is that video creation? Like what kind of video that need to be created actually? Can you just elaborate on that?
Oh, you come in and sit down with me and we have a chat for about 20 minutes about anything you want to talk about. And then I'll split it up into 4 reels. Actually, Justin will, and we'll give it to Mike and you'll get your 6,000.
Okay.
I'm available 7 days a week for that. We can do it. You can come in, Nara, during your typical Zoom time, and I can just stay here at the office and we'll crack it out. It's really easy and it's fun.
Oh, okay. Sure. But if I have a valid travel, right, that I'm going out of the country, but still does Mike consider and give that $6,000? Because I'll still not be available, right? Because
Nara, if you're not able to be here, you're not able to be here, and you're not going to get the stock. That's my answer.
Okay.
Okay. That's the way I have to answer it.
Okay. So any idea when is that annual conventional event going to happen?
The Christmas party's in early December. I know that. And if there's going to be a separate convention, they will announce it plenty in advance.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Lori has a question in the room.
Is there a quick explanation why the positive net to agent seems in all the examples to be higher for the less busy people?
No, I don't. We haven't analyzed that. That's a great. The question in the room was, why is this an outlier? This 9 an outlier? You know, you lose 865 there. Why is that an outlier? And I think that's the only one.
Well, just even.
There you go. Here. Yeah, here's an outlier. If you're doing 7 in your second year, this is actually year 3, you've grown and grown. I will. You lose 473. So there's just a couple of mathematical outliers, guys. We haven't analyzed why. I suppose if we drilled down on it, we could figure it out. But yeah, Lori wants to know by next week. Let's end with this. If you have questions about revenue share that this hasn't made crystal clear, please get a hold of me. I will be glad to show you a calculator, and Sheila does not want me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is the red one plus kind of the front-facing page, and it's got a calculator here that you're welcome to use. And then you go right here and click a new calculator, and it lights it up, and it's interactive. So we play around with this. The only part I'm going to play around with is right down here, guys. 4 sponsored people. Sorry. And each of those people have 2. And each of those 2 have, or each of those 8 have 2. That's about as deep as I'll get for it. Actually, never mind. I can't even do that one. Sorry. So let me be real conservative. So there's a whole 12 people in your downline. That's an extra $41,000 a year in annual income to you. Will last as long as you're in Red 1 in revenue share and they are in Red 1 and revenue share. You can create what is on average more than the average single earner household across this country. That sits at around 37 grand.
I have the spreadsheet. It's easy to change the top number as far as like what your average home is that you're selling, or you know that you're.
Yes, if you want to get with Sheila and put different numbers in that give you different outcomes as it relates to your average sales price, she will gladly show you that so you can see those avatars that we came up with in real time with what you believe to be your business is going to look like. I did one more thing and did 8 personally sponsored people, and each of those having 2, and that's $139,000 in annual income. Guys, is that 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road? Yep, sure is. That's why this is not a sprint. It is a marathon. and we will be with you for every step of that marathon. And with that, I bid you adieu. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.